Previously in Season 2 of Real Account. After battling through 4 horrifying death games, Yuma is prepared for what comes next. Over these past few days, many users from all over the world have been trapped inside the world of Real Account. In this virtual world, if your follower count drops to 0, you die. If any of your followers die, then that spells the end for you. Back in the real world, it seems that Nanako, Yuma's girlfriend, has found a clue pertaining to the origin of these games. At Real Account headquarters, 2 mysterious figures are celebrating as a new world is about to be created. This is the continuation of that story. If you haven't seen the previous video of Real Account, click on the top right corner so you won't be confused. Quickly before we get into the video, if you love the How to Beat Manga series, I would appreciate it if you could subscribe. Around 80% of my viewers aren't subscribed, and since we are almost near 1,000 subscribers, it would mean a lot for me to hit that mark. Thanks for all the support so far, and let's get back to the video. Making their way to the 5th death game, Yuma has become quite a celebrity in the world of Real Account. Through his quick thinking, he was able to save many people, and this led to his popularity skyrocketing. Entering the game room, it seems that the setting of this game will be a festival. Mizuki pops out of the corner, and it seems that this guy hasn't given up on Yuma. He senses something inside Yuma that is very dark. Marble begins to explain the rules of the game as they will all be playing Big Flame Festival. The conditions to win are simple. You have 1 hour to completely burn down the turret. If you fail to do so within the allotted time, then the entire group will be burned to death. However, there is only one way to add fuel to the fire. That is through personal information on your phones. By revealing any type of information to the outside world, depending on the amount of clicks and retention the info gets, the larger the fuel will be added. Okay, it seems that again, the games played so far are modeling the current technological world we live in today. These days, it seems that the only things that get clicks or attention are controversial or out of the ordinary topics. The internet has become so saturated that normal content doesn't cut it anymore. Thus, to win this game, you must think through the eyes of a consumer. In marketing, to analyze a consumer, we must factor in 3 things: their needs, wants, and demands. In this situation, what a viewer needs is self-satisfaction. The core of people's reasoning to seek entertainment is to relinquish boredom. This is why in this game, you must provide information that meets these needs. If you stray too far from the original need, such as providing boring photos of your family, though this may be entertaining for you, the consumer doesn't really need this. Also, you should lose your pride when playing this game. If it comes down to a situation where I have to leak something very embarrassing or end up burning to a crisp, you bet that I'm doing whatever the fuck it takes to live. Get your priorities straight. The game begins, and this guy starts the group off with a banger. He uploads a video of him and his other friends committing acts such as breaking people's cars and running away with money. It's broadcasted all over Real Account for 30 seconds and received a huge amount of responses from other people in the real world. The results are announced as a huge tank of gasoline comes pouring out of the sky and boosts the flame on the turret. Unfortunately for this guy, his last follower in the real world unfollows him after learning about his actions, and his follower count drops to 0, leading to his death. Yikes, I guess that's also a way to go out. But given the situation Yuma and Ayame are in, since they both have a mutual following, they are safe from the situation occurring. Yuma brings up a clever idea that everyone in this group should follow each other to prevent this from happening, but Marble interjects stating that these functions are unavailable for this game. Fuck. Other players start revealing information from their phones, but it's all boring information and receives no traction at all. This leads to barely any fuel being added to the fire. At this rate, they are all going to die. Yuma starts leaking his own information, and all of a sudden, Mizuki appears behind him and asks, "Is that all? What about your true secret?" It seems that Mizuki sees something in Yuma that the others don't. They manage to burn down the upper layer of the turret as the second part of the game starts, as all the players have their phones swapped with another person. Your darkest secrets are now in the palms of a total stranger. Okay, while this might seem like a bad thing, this is probably the best thing to happen for the group. As we've seen before in the previous rounds, no one is willing to give up their darkest secrets and lose their pride to add fuel to the fire. These new rules put us in a situation where we don't have the luxury to decide whether we want to save our pride or not. Thus, this will lead to a situation where we will end up with the maximum amount of fuel being added to the fire since no one gives a fuck about exposing other players. In turn, I would be happy with the situation. The true nature of this game is to dig down into the nature of human beings. As everyone looks through the contents of the phones, a smile appears across everyone's faces. Of course it will. Reading other people's secrets is really fun. Most people love drama at the end of the day. The group starts exposing other people's informations as massive amounts of fuel are being added to the fire. However, this also comes with the downside of certain individuals dying after reaching 0 followers from their secrets being exposed. As everyone is busy leaking information, Yuma is the only person that hasn't looked at the phone he got. He states that he doesn't want to because he wants everyone to be happy. Alright, this sort of thinking made him popular and have good reception with the community for the first couple of games, but in this situation, it's not the right thing to do. You could easily kill the entire group while trying to save the pride of one person. The second round ends as another shuffle time begins. Looking over all the remaining contestants, everything seems fine until Yuma realizes who received his phone. Dangling upon his fingertips, Yuma's phone lies in Kuroshina Mizuki's palms. Let's see what sort of dark secrets he is hiding. It seems that Yuma still doesn't want to expose other people's information as Mizuki has just found something very interesting. Remember, back in season 1 of Real Account, the story revolved through the lens of Ataru Kashiwagi. After being trapped in the world of Real Account and passing 3 gruesome death games, Ataru was ready to face what comes next, until suddenly, on the screen appeared his supposedly dead brother Yuma. How was he alive? Continuing the story, season 2 of Real Account took us through the lens of Yuma, and we got to see his perspective in the first couple of death games. We didn't really know how he was alive, but alas, in this current situation, as Mizuki holds onto Yuma's phone, looking through his diaries, the story of Yuma Mukai is finally revealed. The first thing I saw was a white ceiling and a lady's face. Waking up, I was in a children's nursery, full of cuts and bruises, and had no recollection of my past. The only thing I could remember was that my name was Yuma. At the nursery, Yuma met Nanako, his girlfriend, and all things considered, she was the only one that ever counted. When Yuma would hang out with his friends, all he would feel was a sense of boredom. He felt cold and would always fake a smile. In truth, he doesn't care about others. So, he created the character of Yuma Mukai to play the role of the good guy. Fuel is raining down on the turret as everyone is shocked by this revelation. Yuma runs towards Mizuki and tells him to stop, as Mizuki states that this is what I saw in you from the beginning. This will be the last reveal as he exposes the recordings of Yuma. Wanting to be acknowledged and to prove that his existence was real, Yuma recorded every single person praising him and would often listen to the recordings in his free time to feel like he belonged in this world. Yuma sprints towards Mizuki, but all of a sudden, there is a shock sent to his brain as he falls to the floor. Getting up, it seems that his head is bleeding and that a switch has just been flipped. The others are terrified by what they see as the real Yuma Mukai awakens. Okay. Do you guys hear that sound? All aboard the Yuma Mukai hype train. It's finally time that we get to see the real Yuma. I'm way more interested to see how this type of character completes the death games of Real Account. He finally gives 0 fucks and will do whatever the fuck he wants. This means that he'll probably play more optimally since he doesn't have to worry about the well-beings of other people. In most of these death games, having another person to take care of is usually a burden, though it can net some positive benefits in some situations. But for now, let's see how the new Yuma plays through these games. Since Yuma has Mizuki's phone, he decides to dig deep into his past and break through his darkest secrets. It seems that Mizuki is already too far gone, but by revealing the truth behind his dead mother, Mizuki falls to the floor and collapses. Ayame asks why Yuma did this since this doesn't add fuel to the fire, rather he just hurt another person. In response, Yuma states, "Fuck that, I just want to see you all suffer." Okay, I'm starting to like Yuma more and more. The real Yuma Mukai is a fucking psycho. Going up to Mizuki, he tells him that he wants to see his broken face. This is what you get for fucking with me. It seems that there's only 3 minutes left of the game and that there's still a shit ton of fuel needed to be added to complete the game. Yuma is laughing and shrugging it off, but in this situation, that's the last thing I would do. By the looks of it, it feels hopeless since there's not much we can reveal anymore, so instead, I would try to create content that we could fake and record to add to the fuel. All that's left is to send a prayer and hope for the best. However, it seems that the prayer was answered. Back in the real world, Nanako has infiltrated the Kashiwagi headquarters and is looking for information about the source of the game. Looking through the files, she finds a picture of Marble along with other assistants, and it seems that this was a planned experiment. All of a sudden, she comes across a picture and is shocked by what she sees. Back to the death game, there's only a minute left before the turret explodes until all of a sudden, Yuma's fuel starts filling up and a huge amount is added to the fire. As Yuma tells Mizuki to get lost, everyone checks their phone to see what is going on. Real account news is buzzing as a photo of Yuma is being passed around. Looking through the article, he finds that the masterminds behind Real Account was his family, as he finds a picture of him, Ataru's sister, and their parents together in a laboratory. Stating, "It's been a while since I last saw you, Yuma is ready to fuck shit up." Okay, it's all coming together now. We finally understand what is happening in the timeline. But then again, these guys played this death game really poorly. If they didn't have the news spread about Yuma, they'd all be dead by now. The 5th game is now over, and it seems that they have no time to rest before the next game starts. The entire group falls unconscious after inhaling some sort of gas and wakes up to find themselves all in marble costumes. Looking up, it seems that they are back in the real world as they start celebrating until in front of them appears a huge crowd of people. The crowd bombards the contestants and starts ripping their clothes off. After finding the marble mark, the outsiders take a picture and the participant's head explodes. The 6th game has already started as Marble announces the rules of the game. They will be playing social network hide and seek. The rules are simple. All Real Account users will run and people from the real world will chase them. If they manage to scan your mark, they will be awarded $1 million and it will be game over for you. The game will last for 3 days. Okay, there's 2 things I want to point out here. The first mistake these guys made was not being aware at the beginning of the game. You are participating in a death game. Losing your attention is not something you want to be doing. There have been a ton of hints that this game is not over, such as you being in a marble mask and the crowds looking at you with bloodshot eyes. Adapt to your situation and think analytically. Yuma thinks of a clever idea and puts the mask on an outsider. As the others swarm towards the fake marble, he uses this opportunity and leaps on top of the crowd, creating a stepping stone to escape. It seems that wherever he hides, participants keep on coming, and it's revealed that every 10 minutes, Real Account updates your location for the entire world to see. Okay, this is one of the toughest games so far. It's like a zombie apocalypse, but instead of slow and dumb zombies, you have agile and intelligent humans. Not to mention that every 10 minutes, your location is updated. This is exponentially harder than whatever a zombie apocalypse could bring, and I'm thinking about the best way to escape from this situation. If I were in this situation, I would time my movements along with the updated locations. By setting up a schedule, after my location is revealed, I would quickly run away to a new spot for 2 minutes and then proceed to rest for the next 8 minutes. This will help conserve our energy to last for 3 days. Many people might think of taking the high ground, but that is going to be the worst possible thing to do. By going anywhere with an elevation like a building, all that's doing is restricting your movement and your chance to escape. We all know that if you fall from anything greater than 20 meters, you probably won't be able to move for the next week. You should look for cars and think of how you are going to ration your food while running away. Yuma hitches a motorcycle and to his surprise, jumping on appears another contestant from the previous game. After being surrounded by a couple of bandits, it seems like Yuma is trapped until he suddenly goes berserk. He starts beating the crap out of all the members, and to his surprise, behind him, it seems that a pile of bodies are dropping as well. Taking the mask off, Mizuki appears as he asks Yuma if he can join him for the fun. These two are ready to f shit up, and if you aren't prepared to die, I would suggest not getting close to these two. However, no matter how strong you are, even if right now these guys could beat 100 people at once, in the long run there is no way that they can keep this up. I would expect that after a couple hours they would need rest and nutrition, thus they should use their energy wisely. The outsiders run away as Mizuki tells Yuma that he wants to be with him after experiencing the utter defeat. It seems that no one will target the two now that they've seen their strength, which is beneficial for their survival. Going into the night, Yuma and Mizuki steal a car and it seems that Yuma is heading towards someplace mysterious. The girl contestant is tagging along with them as she sees the two of them as strong users. It's pretty smart to surround yourselves with power in this situation. As Mizuki and Yuma are arguing in the front seat, it appears that everything is going smoothly until they hear a loud sound. Looking back, the girl's neck is chopped off as the two realize that something is following them. Looking up, a marble is on top of the roof and has the girl's head in his hand. What the fuck is happening? Mizuki makes a sudden stop as Marble goes flying off the car. As he gets up, it seems that he is being controlled by the mask and starts flying towards the car. He cracks the windshield as Mizuki tries to shake him off. It appears that the marble is targeting Yuma as it breaks through the windows and is heading towards Yuma. Realizing this, Mizuki blocks the impact of the shot as the car crashes into the lines. Getting up from the crash, Yuma drags Mizuki away as the car explodes. It seems that the marble is still alive as it chases Yuma and Mizuki. This thing can't be human. The two manage to get away and hide in a bush until all of a sudden dozens of marbles appear from the sky. Okay, it seems that this game is getting harder and harder. They are constantly adding challenges, so we need to adapt and improvise. It also doesn't help that Mizuki has an open wound. To hide from all the marbles, Yuma and Mizuki hide in a forest, and Mizuki tells him that they need to get to a hospital or else he will die. Remember, an open wound is no joke. Continuous movement can cause the wound to reopen, and without any medical attention, it can easily spell your death. Going to the hospital is probably the best play to make. Since Mizuki has chained himself up to Yuma, they have no choice but to go. Planning the best route, they decide to enter through a sewer. In my opinion, this is a terrible choice as your exits are easily sealed and there's only one way to enter. If the marbles find your location and swarm onto you, you are basically as good as dead. All of a sudden, marbles appear out of the sewage as the two run away. Climbing the ladder, they grab onto Yuma's legs and it looks like it's all over until Mizuki stabs himself, and by using his own blood, he makes the other marbles slip. What the fuck? That must be so painful. If a regular person did this, they would definitely faint from shock. This was definitely a crazy play by Mizuki. The two enter the hospital and a couple of marbles appear behind them, but it seems that these DQN marbles only attack at night as the sun has just risen. Mizuki gets his wound treated until suddenly a new mission is announced. Within 3 hours, you must meet all your followers and scan their marks. Since Yuma and Mizuki are following each other, they scan each other right away, and it looks like Yuma can unfollow Ayame at any time since she's not needed anymore. We pan back to Ayame, and it looks like her brother has some sort of obsession with her, chaining her up and trapping her inside in an area while killing all the outsiders that come to try and scan her code. Yikes. To win over the attention of Ayame, he follows her back and tells Ayame to look at her follower count. Seeing her follower count drop to 1, her brother tells her that Yuma has unfollowed him and says that he is the only one who believes in her, even though cough cough, he unfollowed her at the start of the game. He reaches his hand out for Ayame until suddenly Yuma appears from the ceiling and smashes the brother's face. Stating, "This girl is mine," Yuma and Ayame head out. LMFAO, this part was funny as hell. The three of them are now reunited, as in the car it's revealed that Yuma still follows Ayame, and it turns out that her brother was the one who unfollowed her again. What a cuck. In my opinion, having 3 people in a group is probably the best number in this game. It's not too many that you have to look over everyone, but it's not too few as well. Ayame asks where Yuma is driving towards as Yuma makes a sudden stop towards a house. He tells them that this is the Kashiwagi family house, the house of his forgotten past. Telling the others to stay inside, he enters the house and the memories of his past childhood comes flooding towards him. On the walls are pictures of him with his brother Ataru and their parents. Wondering why this place seemed abandoned, all of a sudden he hears the front door creak open. Ataru enters the house stating, "I'm home," as the two brothers finally meet. Without hesitation, Ataru pulls out a gun as the picture of Yuma and Ataru falls to the floor. That concludes it for part 3 of Real Account. Who is your favorite character in the series so far? Personally, mine is Yuma since he's a sick f***. If you want to know what happens next between Ataru and Yuma, be sure to subscribe to not miss out when the next part drops. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. Recommending these videos to your friends can also help me grow. Thanks for all the support so far, and this has been Hyacinth. Peace.